Buongiorno, goedemorgen, good morning and welcome to the Business Day Italy. Today is about the current opportunities to do business in Italy, and also it's very much about matchmaking. My name is Erik Pekel. I am the host of this opening session, and with me are the ambassador of the Italian Republic to the Netherlands, Giorgio Novello, Marloes Claessens, co-owner of Polyedro Recruitment, and Christina van der Veer, Advisor International Business at RVO, the Netherlands Enterprise Agency. Welcome. Great to have you. And also we're delighted to have you. We are connected at a distance. We're live. So please feel free to send in any questions, any thoughts via the chat. And also we have prepared some questions for you. Let's start straight away with the first poll question, which will appear currently on your screen. Are you already active in doing business in Italy? Please click on the answer of your choice and I will get back to the results later. Also, we have a video connection with some entrepreneurs and with the ambassador of the Netherlands in Italy, Desiree Bonus. Ambassador, good morning.
Morning.
First
good morning.
of all,
can you hear me?
Yeah, absolutely. We can see
Great.
you as well. Great to have you. Good morning. What can the embassy and the consulate general do for Dutch entrepreneurs?
Well, buongiorno. Good morning to everybody and a warm welcome from Rome. I'm glad to see so many Dutch entrepreneurs participating today. Impressive, albeit online. There are also some companies participating from overseas, like from Bangalore, Austin, Guatemala. So happy to see you all here. And of course, I'm also very pleased to see my Italian colleague, Ambassador Novello, in the studio there. Thank you for joining us today. It's another good moment in already excellent relations, I would say, between our two countries. And that certainly holds for the area of trade and investment. The trade volume between the Netherlands and Italy is actually 30 billion euros annually worth of goods and services with one another. And not many people know that Italy is the sixth export destination for the Netherlands. It offers a market of 60 million people, so that is quite impressive, consumers. And there are also some very promising developments going on at the moment. The reform plan, which Italy has presented in Brussels last week in response to the corona crisis, aims at a digital transformation of the country, plus a focus on the green economy. And the funds reserved for Italy to finance this plan amount to almost 200 billion euros. This money will be spent on projects in the areas of, for example, digitalization, a digital transformation, and also on greening of the economy. So these areas we will discuss, of course, later on with you today, but they offer, in any case, great opportunities for Dutch business, for Dutch companies that stand ready to share their professional expertise and experience with Italian counterparts. Now, our team in Rome, as well as our colleagues from the Consulate General in Milano, are here to support you in your exploration of Italy. Whether you're an established enterprise or a new startup, just tell us what you need. We also do dispose of a network of 13 honorary consuls in cities throughout Italy with local knowledge and connections to help you. Together we assist Dutch companies with all kinds of business proposals, large and small. We provide market analysis reports in promising sectors. We set up topical seminars. We initiate trade missions with matchmaking opportunities. And we organize collective participations in trade fairs. So in short, we're here to help you. And please do contact us whenever you feel we could assist you. Thank you.
That is really fantastic. And it already starts today because through the B2Match platform, you can already plan your one-on-one sessions, also with the economic network, the specialists at the embassy, at the consulate, today during the Business Day Italy. Ambassador Novello, we heard about the big recovery plans coming up in Italy, which of course are based on the heavily hit situation in the COVID crisis. How is Italy doing today?
Looking back to what happened in my country 1 year ago, the situation was really dramatic. The images of what happened in northern Italy, in Bergamo, in Milan, in Lombardy, cannot be forgotten. Italy was the first European country to be hit by the pandemic, and the situation was difficult because nobody knew anything about that virus. That was an absolute first. So Italy had to cope with unprecedented, unexpected circumstances, and the toll was very, very heavy in terms of human lives lost, in terms of social problems, in terms of economy. We tried to react, to navigate through uncharted waters, uncharted territory. 1 year after, the situation is definitely much, much, much better. I'm very proud of what Italy did. I'm very proud of what the European Union did, of what our European partners did. Now, the situation is so good that this week, as was already mentioned by Desiree Bonis, my good friend and excellent colleagues at the helm of the Dutch embassy in Rome, Italy is going to reopen to allow again for free movements among the regions of Italy. The vaccination program is going full steam ahead. 25 million vaccines have been injected into Italians, and the rhythm is now 500,000 per day. That means that now we are mid-May. By the end of this month, 7 more million Italians will have been vaccinated. So I'm very confident that today we are witnessing the reopening of a new phase in the life of Italy and of Europe, and hopefully of the rest of the world.
Yeah, so we all hope for a very speedy, very good recovery, also with a great focus on economic recovery with Mario Draghi as your prime minister. He comes with a lot of experience also from the European Bank. We will talk a bit more about that later. But first, Ambassador Bonis, when we focus on the Dutch entrepreneurs who are active in Italy, how did they make it through the COVID crisis?
Yeah. Well, as Ambassador Novello just emphasized, Italy was the first country hit in Europe by the corona crisis. And the consequences have been really beyond imagination. And many people have lost their lives, people are suffering. The economic damage has been really severe. And for example, the tourism sector, if you just realize that in Rome there are 1,800 hotels, of which now less than 100 are open already for a year. And tourism in general represents 15% of the Italian economy. That is enormous. But then again, now things look clearer, and probably next week these places will be opened again. Italy will open up again for tourism, as Premier Draghi stressed. And I must say, even during this crisis, some opportunities have presented themselves, and some Dutch businesses have flourished here. For example, e-commerce took a flight, and some businesses that are active in this sector have really expanded their business. So I think it's also a matter of looking for the right niches and to see where things stand and then step in.
So it also comes, like any crisis, with great opportunities, and especially the big recovery program ahead, digitization, but also a greener economy, fast trains. There's a lot of opportunities ahead. Ambassador Novello, what can you do for the Dutch companies?
For the Dutch company, there is a lot we can do, but I would like to underline, first of all, that entrepreneurs are entrepreneurs, companies are companies, diplomats are diplomats, and embassies are embassies. So we don't have to try to compete doing the same type of work. We have to cooperate and create synergies. I say that also because I spent a number of years in the private sector. I used to be senior vice president of an Italian company near Rome, specialized in space and producing the Italian light launcher to put in orbit artificial satellites. So working in the private sector for a number of years and enjoying every single day of that, I really saw that there are more similarities than differences between the public and the private sector. It is all about managing expectations, managing people, managing skills, trying to identify strategic goals and try to cope with everyday difficulties. So when I say that we need synergies, I do that on the basis of my personal experience. So going back to what we can do for Dutch, and I would say also for Italian entrepreneurs. Diplomats, we are there, we are paid to establish, to create and to manage networks of people, to favor and support exchange of ideas, cross-fertilization, to open up new possibilities, new avenues, to offer enterprises which carry the ultimate responsibility for economic growth, of course, with the widest possible range of options and opportunities. I'm deeply convinced that we Italians and you Dutch, we can cooperate together. A good example is the friendship and cooperation between me and Desiree Bonis. I participate in the events of the Dutch Embassy in Rome. The Dutch Embassy in Rome participates in our events. I just want to mention one. We are going to organize together a fish trade on fish. Now, Italy imports 80% of its fish from abroad, and we import some 500 million worth of fish from the Netherlands, and we process it in our packaging and food processing companies. So that's a perfect win-win situation. Our Dutch friends export fish to us, we process it. So we work together to stimulate and reinforce this mutual cooperation.
Then when you talk about the opportunities that are ahead, when you talk about the big recovery fund also from the European Union and the national recovery plans, but especially the next generation EU billions that Italy will receive, what opportunities does that offer for businesses?
I would say three axes. Try to focus on three aspects. The first is money. Yes, money is abundant, 200 billion euro. The GDP of Italy is the 8th largest economy in the world, is in the region of 1,600 billion a year. So you can see the comparison. Of course, not all money will flow in one go. We have submitted our national plan, bang on time, on the 30th of April. We'll receive probably the first installment during this year in the region of some 13 billion euro, and the rest will come in the next year. So it's not one installment, it's a sort of progressive influx of money. But still, it's really a lot of money which has to be put, of course, to good use. So the second axe I wanted to mention is the use of that money to reform Italy as much as it is needed. And it is needed to strengthen and reform, above all, the state. If a lesson can be drawn from the pandemic, is that private initiative, of course, is essential. Private companies are essential, but also states. The public administration is essential. When we saw what happened in Bergamo, in northern Italy, in other countries, everybody had to turn to public administration, to hospitals, to the Ministry of Health, to public strategies to fight against the virus. So we all realized all of a sudden, maybe in a sort of shock, that if we have to live and prosper, we have to have strong institutions. We realize that, and so Italy will use this influx of economic resources hand in hand with the process of strengthening its governance, including its diplomatic service abroad, of which I am a little part. Two pillars are very important: green economy and digitalization. We are not building in the desert in Italy. The green economy is very strong in my country. For instance, the largest green company in the world is Italian, ENEL, operating in Italy and in 3 other continents. And then the third aspect I wanted to mention is cooperation. We are kind enough to mention Mario Draghi. Draghi is an old-hand experience in European affairs as governor of the European Central Bank. But behind Draghi, there is a wide consensus among the main political parties in Italy to work together as much as possible, of course, in the context of a vibrant democracy and different opinions like in Italy and in all mature democracies. So again, money, reform and cooperation within the Italian politics. But one final point, 200 billion, fine. Of those, the majority are loans which should be repaid, so the Italians will repay that. The remaining are grants, 80 billion grants, of which Italy pays for 65. So all in all, the grant level is 25 billion. And Italy remains a net contributor to the European Union. That means that Italy gives to the coffers of the European Union more money than it gets back. It used to be 4 billion a year. Now it's a bit less. It will be 3 billion. But again, without Italy, the budget of the European Union would be worse off, not better off.
Thank you very much for pointing that out as well. So it's big opportunities, especially in those sectors that we focus on today, also later during the upcoming sessions. Ambassador Bonus, it's all about exploring the opportunities to do business in Italy today. What would be your advice to the entrepreneurs?
Well, indeed, we speak today about opportunities, and Ambassador Novello gave some very interesting figures already. I would like to add that Italy, after the Brexit, is the 3rd economy of the EU. So it is indeed a huge powerhouse. And if one starts to do business in Italy, I think one practical advice would be to take a little bit more time than one may be used to do in the Netherlands. Many businesses here are still family-owned. So if that is the case with your business partner, I think it is of crucial importance that you build a solid long-term relationship with the owners of the company, that you build personal trust, and then there will always be understanding and respect and an ease of solving problems. I would also like to advise you to be always correct and transparent in your own conduct of business. Choose the right partners to work with. Many participants here today have done so already in the past and will share their personal experiences with you later on today.
Ambassador Novello, what will be your advice to the entrepreneurs?
I'm too humble to give a piece of advice to entrepreneurs, but thinking aloud, I've jotted down 5 pieces of advice. The first is to read a book. Nice book written by an entrepreneur, a Dutch entrepreneur, whom I happened to meet, who wrote a book, the title of which is Why I Chose Italy. Rick Véran, that's the name of the Dutch author, French father, Dutch mother, and he thinks of himself as a European entrepreneur, but with solid Dutch roots, writes about his experience as an investor in Milan, founder of a company with a turnaround of some 1 billion euro a year, exporting industrial buildings all over the world. Well, he wrote the book in Italian. We are translating it now into Dutch. And really, I would recommend to potential interested person in Italy to read it. 15 theses, 15 points of view about Italy with negative sides, but also with a very realistic and, I dare say, positive image on that. And that's, I think, one good contribution that my embassy is offering to provide that translation in Dutch. Second is trust your stereotypes. When you think that, I don't know, Italians, we speak loud or we are passionate, yes, that's true. When we say that the Dutch are money conscious, that the Netherlands, there's a lot of rain, yes, that's true. So stereotypes are there because they in a way reflect the truth. Piece of advice number 3, do not trust your stereotypes. Think beyond those. You read in the press a lot of, quarrels about the frugal countries, the profligate countries, frictions between the Netherlands and Italy, and so on and so forth. Yeah, that may be true. Yes, why not? That may be true. But look beyond the stereotypes, because my experience, both in the private and public sector, shows that working between Dutch and Italians is possible. Sometimes it's easy, and it can be very, very, very profitable. Piece of advice number 4, collect as many information as you can. As Desiree Bonis, my dear colleague, said, pick up information. Italy is a multifaceted country. It ranges from South Tyrol, which is at the 45th parallel north latitude, to Lampedusa, which is south of some parts of Tunisia, with a wide difference of climate and cultures and so on. That means that you have an enormous number of opportunities and to find your tailor-made portion of Italy. Number 5, use both the private and the public tools at your disposal. LVO is an excellent institution in the Netherlands, with which I cooperate already. We have ICE, that's the Italian Trade Commission in Italy, for instance. There are new offices at the Ministry of Foreign Affairs. Please use both the private and the public institutions, because both of them working together can offer entrepreneurs a wider and more complete picture, because we all know information is power, and power means good business.
Thank you so much, Your Excellencies, also for that practical advice. I think you already made the opening session very worthwhile for our participants, but there's more to come, because I'm going to engage in a conversation with a lot of experienced entrepreneurs who are already active in Italy, and that also relates to the first poll question. Let's have a look at the results. I asked you, are you already active in doing business in Italy? And on the screen, you can now see what was answered, so that you can see that you are in great company with the other participants. And you can see that there's quite a lot of experience already amongst our participants. So feel free in the matchmaking tool via B2Match to also plan one-on-one conversations with other entrepreneurs who are already active, to ask them for their advice and for their experience. Let's have another poll question. Here's the next question on the screen. In which sector are you active? Please click on the answer of your choice, and I will get back to the results later on. But first, let's have a look at a short video, because in November we organized a trade mission to Italy with Minister Kaag and 40 Dutch companies. The focus was on sustainable fashion and water technology. Let's have a look at a short compilation movie.
Hi, welcome to this virtual trade mission to connect entrepreneurs in the Netherlands and Italy in the field of sustainable fashion and textiles and water technology.
Qui possiamo vedere per esempio un tessuto che sarà destinato alla produzione di un capo per il ministro Kaag.
Het is een geweldig stukje kunst. Het is duurzaam, creatief.
I think by exhibiting digitally, showing digitally, but also producing in ways where you integrate digitalization, you can achieve a much more sustainable fashion industry.
Our collective agenda is based on the idea that the current fashion system is kind of broke. So we try to find new business models.
We have to be very careful because today marketing is playing a very bad game in terms of sustainability.
It is necessary to have a broader vision.
It's also an opportunity to put sustainability top of mind, top of investors, and of course the circular economy is one way to achieve sustainability. This trade mission has tabled the green economy, the circular economy, as two mainstays of our mission to twin companies together to innovation, expertise, technology, and the investors.
Good morning, buongiorno. Welcome to the webinar, Opportunities in Water Technology in Italy.
Water offers, I think, many challenges and opportunities for the Netherlands and Italy.
Also, the design of the treatment plant has good properties for our installations.
For us, it's a pleasure to participate in this important event, of course, and say that we are very impressed of your technologies.
Yeah, that was a wonderful trade mission back in November. And now let's hear firsthand from the businesses that are active in Italy, starting with Paolo Rufino. We have a video connection, CEO at Decisio, spatial consultancy. Paolo, good morning. You grew up in Italy. You studied sustainable development and spatial planning in the Netherlands. Why did you choose to study in the Netherlands?
Good morning, everyone. It's a pleasure to be here. Well, I've always been interested in many topics related to sustainable urban development, and I was looking for a university degree that would prepare me specifically on the topic of mobility. And the Netherlands sort of represents one of the world-renowned living labs in which very innovative spatial planning concepts like transit-oriented development, bike-oriented development, been applied in practice and upscaled at the national level. And I think this, combined with a really high quality education, extremely talented researchers, really was a key selling point. And after completing actually this journey, I can say that I was really satisfied, and it really exceeded my expectation.
Then after your studies, you started to work at Decisio, Amsterdam-based consultancy in spatial planning and design. And now you took that company to Italy. You opened a branch there. Is this the right moment to really be there and open an office?
Yes, I started my career before in the public sector, and then I moved to Decisio. Decisio is a firm that, well, in the Netherlands, is specialized in advising policymakers about societal consequences of policies and projects. And we found actually Italy to be a great partner, a great place where to apply this knowledge, specifically on mobility and public space. Before Corona, I think due to the economic performances that Italy had, they started to seek help from international companies to advise on how to better invest money, especially on public space infrastructure and mobility policies. As we know, Italy has a lot of issues with car congestion, and the Netherlands, being regarded highly, as I was saying, found Decisio to be a really attractive company because we employ also Italian colleagues. And given the fact that we could transfer, but also adapt, and this is really important, also adapt Dutch knowledge to the Italian context was seen as very attractive. Now with Corona and its consequences, of course, this interest has grown dramatically. And we started recently a business here. So we have an SRL opened since, less than a couple of months, actually, although we've been active since 5 years. And I think the Recovery Fund opens a really great window of opportunity for many other Dutch companies. But this is the same also for Italian companies on the other way.
You sent in some images of your work, of some projects. Let's have a look at that. So the first image is about the cycle path. You already pointed out that the Dutch are very well known for their cycle infrastructure. And this is actually a different picture. Here we see you in a workshop with some children. What's happening here?
Exactly. This is an example of the way we approach spatial planning. We adopted participatory techniques to identify and build a cycle network. We start by working with the citizens themselves and facilitating policymakers, technicians, and citizens to come together and think about the future of their city and cycling as a tool to change the urban fabric. And this is an example of a participatory process that we did with children during Giro d'Italia not long ago in Italy, just before the Corona crisis, in which we were looking for ways to develop a cycle network.
Yeah, that's very smart also, of course, to use the huge success of the Giro and take that enthusiasm to the children. Let's have a look at some moving footage now. You did a redesign of a 30-kilometer zone in the city of Cuneo. Let's first see the original situation. What do we see here, Paolo?
What we show to policymakers is often the opportunities that we have if we redesign a place that is currently occupied and consumed by car parking. If we redesign using also Dutch principles like tactical urbanism, 30-kilometer zones, which are concepts that are now fully applied in the Netherlands. How the space could look much better, it could become more safe. What is being seen now is the status quo, but then if we see how it can become, we can really change a bit the perspective of citizens and policymakers.
Yeah, so let's have a look at the design. Here's the next video. Here we see the design, what you make out of the situation that we just saw. What do we see here?
Exactly. That the one before was the situation before. This shows, for instance, the opportunities of how public space could look and business could thrive if we applied specific mobility concepts that can be also low cost and experimental, so that they don't cost too much to implement, which is an issue, of course, in Italy at the moment. And how the feeling of living in the city would change dramatically. And this example is of a medium-small municipality. Cuneo has about 50,000 inhabitants. I want to show this example because there is much work to do also on a smaller scale cities, and not only on large regions and bigger cities. But also medium-sized cities need this type of knowledge and expertise.
Yeah, so it's wonderful projects that you're working on, and you decided to take the office there, to actually open a branch office in Italy. While this type of design, this type of project, you could also do it on a distance and maybe even boast that we are doing this from Amsterdam, you know, where where this type of design thinking is quite famous. So why did you decide that it's really necessary to be physically there? What's the added value?
Well, apart from the fact that Italian clients favor face-to-face business, of course now with the Corona parenthesis, this has slightly changed, and you need to build a lot of trust in the beginning. I think the real reason is that we want to do serious business with Italy and show that the CISIO is willing also to invest there, hiring local people, be close to decision makers, because that's also very important. Taking decisions like we showed in Cuneo takes sometimes a lot of guts, because they have to remove, of course, car parking, they have to reorganize it, and that means taking strong decision, and we have to be there advising and be close to them. We also didn't want to go for a quick run, but we took business with them seriously, and we were really appreciated for this reason. But I think that would be true the other way around, with Italian businesses trying to sell the products in the Netherlands.
Thank you very much, Paolo. Paolo, the CISO, decided to set up an own branch office, but instead of setting up your own office in Italy, a popular option is to work with partners or with agents. And previously, I had a short interview with Wendy Aarden, International Sales Manager at Hakwood, manufacturer of environmentally responsible hardwood products based in Werkendam in the Netherlands. And they chose not to set up their own office in Italy, but rather work with local agents.
Setting up our own office costs a lot of money and time and investigation, because where are you going to set up that location? Does it have to be a location, or does it have to be only an office? And how do we hire people over there? Because very important, we do not speak the language. And Italy is a country where most people only speak Italian. So either we hire a person or two who speak fluently Italian, or we use people who live there and know the culture of Italy, and they start working for us, because we have also learned that the South European countries are very, how do you call that? They have very high standards of their local values. Like you need to have a long lunch with somebody. You need to have a long talk with somebody. You have to create kind of a feeling that you really like each other, and we do not have that time. Working together with agents could be more effective instead of putting a lot of time and energy in finding our own market over there. So that is the reason why we have chosen to work together with agents.
How did you find and select the right agents that you wanted to work with?
Well, like 3 years ago, there was a lady from the Roman embassy, and she followed an internship at our company in Holland. And she was in my office, and bit by bit, she started to learn our strategy and our way of working. So she knew that we already were active in like 52 countries all over the world. And her question, of course, was, why are you not still active in Italy? Well, I said, because we don't speak the language, we don't know the culture, we do not have an office over there, we don't have time. And then she suggested to take part of kind of an event in The Hague from the RVO. And that was a presentation about an event in Milan. It was the Forum Argenti. And that was an event where a lot of Italian agents were supposed to come over, looking for a job, looking for a Dutch company or a European company to work with.
How do you properly train the agents so that they can represent your company?
The way we work with agents is that, first of all, they get a full traineeship with our company. So talking about the products, of course, talking about our strategy, what the type of market is that we are looking for, what we expect from our customers. So we start with inviting them to our company and having a week of traineeship, looking at the office, but also being part of the whole production process. So they are aware of the whole details of our product.
What would be your advice for companies that want to work with agents in Italy?
My advice, if you start working, or when you have decided to start working with agents, is that first of all, you know exactly what to expect from an agent. Make a list. What is the salary that you can offer him? Is there a commission that you can include? What is the way of working that you expect from him? What is the market that you wanted him to investigate? So that is what I just discussed right away. I also asked him, what do you expect from me?
So like Wendy pointed out, the Forum Agenti is the place where all the agents come together. It will happen again in November in Milano. So mark that in your calendar if you're looking to meet a lot of agents, and especially the right agent to represent your company in Italy. Moving on to Michel Vickers, General Manager at Sano Italia. Michel, good morning. 15 years ago, your company set up a factory in Italy. Sano Rice, a private label manufacturer of rice, corn and multigrain cakes, rijstwafels in Dutch. Your original factory is based in Veenendaal in the Netherlands. And here we see a picture of the factory in Italy at the Via Paesi Bassi, the Netherlands road. That's really great, in Borgo Vercelli. Why did you start a factory in Italy, Michel?
Well, the main issue was that we wanted, let's say, at that time we had a factory in the Netherlands, and we tried to find, we found as well customers in Italy, but most of the products were made of Italian rice, so it was quite, from a certain point of view, illogical to bring, let's say, Italian rice to the Netherlands, make cakes and send them back. And at a certain moment in time, let's say, the quantity of products we sold was increasing, and that made it time to discover if it would make sense to open a factory in Italy, or at that time we had the same situation likely in Spain and France. So our, let's say, the son of the owner at that time in 2004 started looking for a location in Southern Europe, and we ended up in Piemonte, where we now located. And in 2006 we opened the factory, and then, let's say, we started, let's say, with a few euros turnover till now about 24 million just in Italy.
Let's talk about the country and about its people, because I know you love working in Italy with the Italians. What makes it so great?
Yeah, I think that it's very difficult to say, to find a reason why not to stay in Italy. Now, next to the fact that my wife is Italian, so I have to be careful. But I would say that, let's say, Italians, and then maybe listening as well to the words of the Italian ambassador speaking about, what was the word? Zeg je dat? Well, I forgot, let's say, the third point where he said the typical things about Italian or typical things about the Dutch.
Stereotype.
And of course you have to go, sorry?
The stereotype. So think of the stereotype exactly. And forget about the stereotypes.
Exactly. And I think you have to forget about it, because in the beginning, of course, we all know about pizza, mafia, and everything, all these kind of typical words. But I found out that the Italians are really hardworking. We have hardworking people on board. We have good speaking English people. They're very company-minded, very committed. So I must say, in time I've learned the Italians as very committed people to their work. And for that reason, I can also say that the Dutch management at the moment from the Netherlands, now unfortunately for COVID reason, they haven't been able to come and visit us. But as soon as now the borders will open, and likely it will be soon, they can't wait to come to meet our colleagues, to share information, to work on projects again, to pick up things which unfortunately have maybe slightly delayed. But I can say the Italians is very good people.
I would like to ask for your practical advice, Michel, because I know Dutch entrepreneurs, Dutch companies, they fear the bureaucracy in Italy. How do you deal with that? What is your practical advice?
Well, I think mainly you have to keep calm. Yeah, you have also to let's say estimate that it might take a little bit longer. So maybe you have to start as well slightly earlier and know that some process might take longer. On the other end, I think we've started in quite a small village in the area of Vercelli. Of course, then you have to deal also with the local authorities, which are quite small authorities. The so-called gemeente commune is also, let's say, quite small. That means not a lot of knowledge always. But on the other side, it's very important to invest in the relationship. So if you start to get to know them, they know you. They are proud that they have a foreign company in their neighborhood. Of course, it creates also jobs, so that's also important to them. And in this way, I think they also see the benefit in helping you and, let's say, coming to find two solutions in order that you can build a factory or you can open your SRL, your BV. So in that sense, it takes a little bit more time maybe, but you will definitely get there. We never regret it. We always still think back to the first days. Of course, it was hard working. It was getting to know each other. It was getting to know, let's say, the Italian authorities. But at this time, we are in very good relationships and we can work very well.
What changes have you noticed in doing business in Italy over the past, say, 15 years?
Well, one of the things I remember, but there are many factors which, I think changed in time is, for example, at that time, in order also to get money from the local banks in that sense, was that there were a lot of banks. And let's say in the last 10, 15 years, a lot of banks now have been, let's say, joining each other in order to get big banks. I see a big tendency that people will, focus more on bio, on healthy food, on gluten-free. That's, of course, our sector as well with the rice cake industry. But we see that there is a big increase in that as well, also in the supermarket chains. In several factors now, we have a very good connection with the Netherlands, with a sustainable connection by train as well. So in 2, 3, 4 days, you're in the Netherlands by train. Very good connections, very reliable. Both for bringing cakes or others raw materials from Rotterdam to us or vice versa. In various areas there have been changes, but positive changes, I would say.
Thank you very much, Michel. And then we move on to Angela Mannaerts, a lawyer at 2M, Mannaerts, Moreschini and Associati. I was doubting if I should pronounce it in Italian or in English. You give advice to Dutch investors and companies that pursue ventures in Italy, like the development of public parking garages or student housing. Michel already gave some advice on dealing with the bureaucracy, because a lot of Dutch businesses, they fear, especially in tender processes, that they are facing a lot of paperwork. Is that true?
Yes, I think I can say that is true, especially if one participates for the first time in a public procurement, because one has to deliver a lot of documentation, often in Italian, and one has to register with ANAC. It's the Italian anti-corruption entity, and often you need to open a bank account with a special Italian bank, and then the bank will control you too. So there is a lot of paperwork, but once you participate for the second time in the tender round, then a lot of paperwork can be reused again. Yes, and if you work in the public works sector, so if you not furnish products and services, but public works, then a solution might be to get a SOA certificate. That's a special certificate that shows your ability to be involved in certain works for a particular category and up to a certain amount, and then you do not have to reprove every time the same things with a lot of documentation. But that foreign companies do not need to obtain a SOA certificate to participate. Only if you have a branch in Italy you do, but it might be a solution in order to avoid producing a lot of documentation. And then another solution, has already been said, is to have a local person on the ground to help you, or a partner or an expert.
So you would recommend that type of clever thinking, but you would say it is possible to approach Italian tenders even from your Netherlands office. You do not need to have a physical branch office, a physical presence there.
Okay, in theory it might be possible, but in practice it would not be advisable. No, but one should not be discouraged by that. One should just have a good local person or just an expert in the field who has knowledge of these procurements. And then, one other thing, but that has been said also, it's Italy invests also in relationships. So you should not be not think, let's just go and do a quick business in Italy. You need to invest in your clients, and your clients can also be the public administration. So you need to have these contacts, or you need to have somebody in Italy that has these contacts.
Yeah, about investing in the relations. The relationship between the Dutch and the Netherlands was heavily hurt when Feyenoord hooligans destroyed the Barkatja fountain back in 2015. And you were part of the recovery initiative. We have a picture of that, which appears right now. Is this also, this was the horrible damage done, and this is the opening of another fountain, because the project was run for recovery, was run a lot broader than that. What happened, and did it help? Did we fully recover the relationship?
Yes, well, this happened in 2015, and we in Rome, we were quite a bit shocked, because we didn't expect that of Dutch hooligans, and the same was for the Romans. The Romans were also very shocked. They expected something like that from the British, but not from the Dutch. So we immediately started to collect funds, and we created an organization called Salviamo la Barcaccia, and that means let's save the Barcaccia fountain, which is a fountain that we just saw destroyed, damaged, and but the Rome municipality actually restored it in the next 10 days. So then we invested the funds in 2 other fountains, and we worked together with a construction group Dutch called Jansen de Jong, and they decided to invest their yearly budget for marketing in this project. But they wanted, we selected 2 fountains, one a Bernini fountain, designed by the son of Bernini, and that was a sort of a symbolic choice, because the Barcaccia was made by Bernini's father. So we restored that one, and the one you see here on the picture is that was a fountain very suitable for this Dutch construction group, because they specialize in concrete, and this was a fountain from the 30s in concrete, completely destroyed by a pine tree that had fallen on it. And so we restored that, but that was an enormous amount of work, because it was actually the first time that a foreign construction company came into Rome to restore a fountain. So lots of paperwork there too.
Angela, at the reopening in this picture, we see you right there in the middle. It's a great project, very well done. Did it help to restore the relationship?
Yes, it did help. It was greatly appreciated. Yes.
Wonderful. Well, we already talked about the opportunities ahead when it comes to recovery plans in Italy, and also the money coming in from the European Union. What do you expect in terms of opportunity for Dutch businesses?
Okay. Well, the Italian ambassador already touched upon it. So the 2 main sectors will be green revolution and ecological transition, and then digital transition. Those will be the 2 main sectors. And actually, the European Union set a minimum percentage to which the funds must be dedicated, and Italy actually went even higher than the minimum set by the European Union for these 2 sectors. And actually, what I also would like to say is that at the moment I'm working with the Dutch Embassy and the Consulate General. We are working on a market report on public procurements in Italy, and it will be finished, I think, in about a month. It will have a legal part, so it will describe all the procedures, the public procurement procedures, but it also describes 6 sectors. So that's health, water, maritime, infrastructure, green economy. So those 6 sectors, and it will show the opportunities there in these sectors. So it will be very interesting for the participants to contact the embassy in about a month or so to obtain that guide. And so we see opportunities in the circular economy. So because raw materials are rare in Italy, so Italy is very much focused on circular economy. So the reuse of material and all the devices needed, there we see an opportunity there. And then we see an opportunity for water reuse systems too. And also, of course, the healthcare sector was hit a lot during COVID. So there will be an enormous need still for devices to prevent the spread of the epidemic. And many operations were postponed. So we expect a lot of demand in orthopedic and cardiology devices. And then, of course, ICT, it will be very important. And the government has launched an ultra broadband development plan, and the digital rendering the public administration more digital. But that's also very important. So that's where we see the main opportunities. But in our guide, they will be described more in detail.
Thank you very much. We very much look forward to studying that guide, that information. Thank you very much for pointing out all the opportunities out there, Angela. Here at the table, Marloes Claessens, you are co-owner of Polyedro Recruitment. Your agency is specialized in multilingual recruitment across Europe. Why do Dutch companies choose to pursue the Italian market?
Because the Italian market is, as said, big, so a big sales market. There are almost 60 million Italians, so that's really interesting, a big market. And also for manufacturing, Italy is a very interesting place to be for Dutch entrepreneurs.
You are specialists in recruitment,
Yes.
and then when companies take that step and they want to open up their own branch office, what is happening? What are they facing?
Recruitment is very different in Italy. As you may know, the unemployment rate is high, and that's why the Italian candidates they study for a long time. So they do have a bachelor, pre-master, and master. So if you go and recruit personnel in Italy, you will come across very, very good profiles, very people with a lot of knowledge. So that can be a good asset for the company.
And what differences are there when recruiting and selecting personnel when you compare the Netherlands situation and the Italian situation?
Yes, the candidates, they during an interview, sometimes it's a bit different. Sometimes they try to sell themselves much more than Dutch candidates would do. Dutch candidates, they want to know a lot more about the company, and whilst Italian candidates, they want to have the job and are eager to sell themselves. That's the feedback sometimes we receive, and that's it mainly. Yeah.
And is it common in Italy to make use of specialized recruitment services like yours?
Yes, that's one of the options that you can have, but there's a very interesting chance you have that universities in Italy, they have a stage and placement office, so you could contact them and they have a very good talent pool of their own graduates, so that could be very interesting. And then there are also the job boards that are a good source of candidates.
And about what people expect from their jobs, is there a difference that you see there?
I think Dutch candidates, they want to have a meaningful job, and sometimes they only want to work in certain sectors. I think Italian candidates are less picky, so they're very happy if they have the job, and so that's a big difference, I think.
And how about the culture of working? I would imagine there's more hierarchy on the work floor in Italy.
Yes, that's really a big difference between the Netherlands and Italy. In Italy, you can't say Erik you have to say u, and so that's a big difference. And that's you can't. If your boss asks you something, you'll most of the time do it, and a Dutch candidate will say, "Why do you have to do that?"
Yeah. And most of the time, when Dutch companies they open up a branch office in Italy, they will select to put Dutch management there, especially for the first term. Is that something that makes sense? Is that also what you would advise, or is it in some cases maybe a better idea to select Italian management straight away? Both options. It really depends on the company, but I think also it could be a good idea to have Italian management. Also, when they, for recruitment, it would be easier because they know the market better. And but it really depends on the company, I think. Yeah, or maybe use, if it's possible, two different managers, right? Yes. One who knows the company very well, and one who knows the new market very well.
Yes,
that
exactly.
Would be a very interesting combination. Exactly. Both the best of both worlds. Well, thank you very much for your practical advice. We'll take two more poll questions. The answers I cannot share with you on the screen like we normally do, so they're shared with you via the chat. So on the second poll question, all sectors are evenly there amongst our participants. A bit less of life sciences and health, and quite a lot of other sectors as well. If you want to, please let us know via the chat which sector you are active in. Moving on straight away to the third poll question and the fourth, who will both appear shortly, one after another. Please click on the answer of your choice. So the third question is procurement in Italy, like Angela pointed out, is complex and time-consuming, and you cannot do it alone as a Dutch company. Do you agree, or do you have other thoughts? And if you do, please let us know via the chat, especially if you have an insight or an advice that other participants could benefit from. And the final poll question, you cannot enter the Italian market without an Italian partner. Please let us know your thoughts on that one as well. It'll be very interesting to know. So please click on the answer of your choice and use the chat also to send us your thoughts, your advice for other participants. Christina van der Veer, you are an advisor international business at RVO, the Netherlands enterprise agency, and you lived and worked in Italy for 30 years, also as a trade officer at the Consulate General in Milan. What are your practical tips for Dutch companies that want to do business in Italy?
Yeah, so what can I add? So much has already
it's horrible, right?
Yeah, it's
but we thought you, with all your experience, you can do this trick.
Yeah, well, I was so lucky that I visited many companies in Italy during my professional life and also during my work at the Consulate General. And what I would suggest, take your time. Don't be in a hurry, because it is so nice to be guided around an Italian company with a very enthusiastic Italian entrepreneur that will tell you everything about the history of the company, because many times it has been in the family for many generations. So they can tell you a lot about the history, but also about the future plans and about their needs. So take your time and let you guide through the company. And also then afterwards, many times Italians will invite you over to take a place at the table and have a very extended lunch or dinner together. And also that is a really important moment, because you have to know each other better, also not only business-wise, but also, you know each other a little better on a personal level. And they love to look for, mutual interests as well. And, then I think you gain the trust. And once you gain the trust, then, you have a good way to start business together. Then, of course, you have to make very clear agreements. It's always the same thing, I think. And then, well, if you don't have the time to do this and to work, because you have to continuously work on this relationship with the Italians. If you don't have the time, it might be better just to think of, maybe find an Italian agent, a distributor, or a partner that can do that work for you. But then once again, what is a pity is, maybe the best candidate could be an Italian person that is not speaking English. But then it's your choice. Am I going to work with him or her, or do I leave it? So that's what I would just maybe add to everything that has been said.
Thank you very much for pointing out that building relationships, business relationships, is not just time consuming, like we heard earlier, but that you can really enjoy it. It's very enjoyable to do business in Italy. It's great that there's so much emphasis, so much focus on building this trust, building this relationship. So what is the help that Dutch companies can expect in Italy? Already our ambassador said a few words about the network there through the consulate and through the embassy, but also RVO, the Netherlands Enterprise Agency, can do a lot to help out, right? Can you elaborate on that a bit more?
Yes, I think that RVO, the NBSO's, Netherlands Business Support Offices, embassies and consulates that are around the world, they form a perfect and efficient network. And we can help, companies from every sector and entrepreneurs that in every phase. You can be a starter or you can be a more experienced entrepreneur. We always have services that can be really useful. And every part of the network is well coordinated. It's also geographically well distributed. So, I think maybe it's nice to have a look at the RVO website. There is a campaign now going on. It's #HetNetwerkEffect. And there are some very interesting stories about entrepreneurs, and at the moment,
also two cases from entrepreneurs who enter Italy, right?
Yes, there is.
Carver and Cooker.
Yes, exactly.
Great stories.
Yeah, Carver started somewhere else, but now he's coming back to Italy and trying to do business there as well. And also Cooker, we help them. I think, it's a nice story. I think it's with very practical examples of what we can do.
And there's even subsidies, right, to help to get you started. There's money you can get to cover the first cost.
Yes, there are some subsidies. That is also something we can inform entrepreneurs about. So maybe I think most of the times first step is that the entrepreneurs contact RVO directly. You can do that in many ways. You can telephone, you can send an email, even a face-to-face, maybe not now, but later on I hope that can work as well. So you can contact RVO, or you can also contact embassies and consulates. And, there's always tailor-made information. And that starts, and the nice thing is that we can help entrepreneurs before, during, and after doing business.
Yeah.
So, before, that's the thing, that we can inform them about the subsidies, and we can inform about the market information, because before starting doing business in Italy, of course, you need good market information. And of course, if you need, deeper research, market research, we can also help you and introduce you with coaches or, professionals that can do the really deep market research. Then
Unfortunately, we need to go to the end of the program already.
Yes.
But people can find all the information right there on the website of RVO.
Yes.
And there is a lot of... there's a great offering out there, also in the matchmaking. Also today, there's so many people that you can meet, but also through the embassies, through the consulate, also through the embassy of the Republic of Italy in the Netherlands. You can be introduced, and it's opening doors. It's creating...
It's a head network effect.
Yeah, and it's creating your market in Italy. And that is also what this day is all about. So about the support that you expect from the government, please help us out by answering this truly final question, this poll that pops up right now. What support does your company need from the government? Please let us know. And thank you very much to all of our speakers. Thank you very much for your active participation. We're near the end, but only of this opening session, because there's so much more happening today at this business day. So please check out the agenda for more information about the planned Zoom sessions, about specific opportunities in circular cities, e-commerce, healthy aging, and water and bioeconomy later today, starting from 11 onwards. And we offer matchmaking throughout the day. So you can plan one-on-one sessions with the RVO advisors, with specialists of the trade network of the Embassy and Consulate General in Italy, and with fellow entrepreneurs like we saw before. There's people with experience, with network, peers, Dutch businesses that do business in Italy, but also Italian businesses that work with the Dutch companies. So that is a great opportunity. Don't hesitate, just plan those matchmaking, those one-on-one sessions, because they're helpful in terms of networking, in terms of experience and ideas. After the event, we'll send you an evaluation. We will be very happy with your answers, which will help us improve our future events. All the best for your ventures and have a great business day.